You know that moment when your entire world collapses in the span of about 30 seconds? When everything you've worked for, everything you've sacrificed for, everything you've believed in just evaporates into thin air? When the ground beneath your feet disappears, and you're left falling into a void with no idea how to catch yourself? When every memory you've ever made becomes tainted by the realization that it was all built on a foundation of lies? That was me at 10:17 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, standing in my own office, staring at a stack of foreclosure notices that had just been delivered by a process server. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. My mind was racing, trying to process what I was reading. My name is Danielle. I am 42 years old. I have been married to my husband Marcus for 18 years. We have 2 children together, a daughter named Olivia, who is 16, and a son named Ethan, who is 13. We have a beautiful home in an exclusive neighborhood, the kind with manicured lawns and neighbors who wave when they drive by. We have a golden retriever named Charlie, who thinks he's a lapdog. We have a vacation home on the lake and a ski condo in the mountains. We are that family. The one with the perfect lawn, the perfect holidays, the perfect social media posts that make everyone else feel inadequate. I am a successful business owner. I co-founded a marketing firm 15 years ago with my best friend, Vanessa. We had built it from the ground up, one client at a time. We had worked countless late nights, sacrificed weekends, and poured our hearts and souls into making it a success. I had always believed in honesty, in integrity, in doing what is right. I believed my business partnership was one of those things. Right? True. Built to last. Marcus is a successful attorney, the kind of man who commands attention when he walks into a room. He is tall, handsome, and has a smile that could charm anyone. He is also ambitious, driven, and has a way of making you feel like you are the most important person in the world when he is talking to you. He is the kind of man other women wish their husbands were like. He is the kind of father every child deserves. I met him when I was 24, fresh out of college and working my first real job at a small marketing firm. He was 30, already on his way to the top. He swept me off my feet from the very first moment. He was everything I had ever wanted in a man. He was charming, confident, intelligent, and he made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. We dated for 2 years before he proposed. It was a fairy tale proposal, the kind you see in movies. He took me to a beautiful restaurant overlooking the city, got down on one knee, and told me he wanted to spend the rest of his life with me. I said yes, of course. I was madly in love with him. I could not imagine my life without him. He was my everything. Our wedding was beautiful, a lavish affair with hundreds of guests, a 5-tier cake, and a live band. I wore a designer dress that made me feel like a princess, and I walked down the aisle on my father's arm. When I saw Marcus waiting for me at the altar, I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. I thought I had it all. I thought I was living the dream. But dreams have a way of turning into nightmares. Those foreclosure notices in my hand were the beginning of the end. They revealed that our company was drowning in debt. Debt I didn't know existed. Debt that had been accumulated by my business partner without my knowledge. Debt that had been hidden from me for years. The official-looking envelopes, the legal jargon, the red final notice stamps, each one felt like a physical blow. I sank into my desk chair, the leather cold through my skirt, and spread the papers out in front of me, like a detective examining evidence from a crime scene. And in a way, that's exactly what it was. A crime scene. My best friend, my partner, my sister in every way that mattered. She had been stealing from our company. She had been taking out loans in my name. She had been forging my signature. She had been building a secret life, funded by my money. And when the truth finally came out, she blamed me for everything. Vanessa and I had been friends since college. We met in our freshman year, 2 young women with big dreams and even bigger ambitions. We had been roommates, confidantes, and partners in crime. We had been through everything together. The good times, the bad times, the heartbreaks, the triumphs. When we graduated, we decided to start our own marketing firm. We were young, ambitious, and determined to make it. We worked countless late nights, sacrificed weekends, and poured our hearts and souls into building our business. I remember the day we signed the lease on our first tiny office, just a cramped room with 2 desks and a dying plant in the corner. We had popped a bottle of cheap champagne and toasted to our future, to the empire we would build. We celebrated our first client together, a small local bakery that paid us in cupcakes for the first 6 months. We cried over our first loss together, a major account that slipped through our fingers because we were too green. We grew together. She was my maid of honor at my wedding. She held my hand when I gave birth to my children. She was there for me when my mother died, holding me in the hospital hallway while I sobbed. She was the first person I called when I got my dream job, except it wasn't a dream job. It was our dream business, and she was the only person I wanted to celebrate with. She was the godmother to my children. She was my rock, my support system, my everything. I had trusted her with my life. I had trusted her with my business. I had trusted her with everything. And she had betrayed me. In the worst possible way. The foreclosure notices were just the beginning. As I started digging, I discovered the full extent of her betrayal. I stayed up for 3 nights straight, fueled by coffee and adrenaline, poring over bank statements and accounting records. Vanessa had been embezzling from our company for years. She had been taking out loans in my name, forging my signature with an expert hand. I later learned she'd practiced it, tracing my signature from old contracts until she could replicate every loop and flourish. She had been using the money to fund a lavish lifestyle for herself, designer handbags, a new car every 2 years, luxury vacations she always claimed were discount travel deals she'd found online. She had been hiding it all from me. She had been manipulating the books, creating fake accounts, and covering her tracks. She had been so careful, so calculated, so cruel. Every time I'd asked about a discrepancy, she'd had a smooth explanation ready. Oh, that's just a timing issue with the bank. Or that client paid late, but it's already been deposited. I had believed her because I wanted to, because the alternative was unthinkable. And when I confronted her, she didn't even try to deny it. I called her into my office, our office, the one we'd picked out together when we finally upgraded from that tiny room. I'd laid the foreclosure notices on the desk, my hands trembling. She'd walked in, seen my face, and I watched her expression shift from friendly curiosity to cold, hard defiance in the span of a heartbeat. She didn't even pretend to be surprised. She just looked at me with cold, dead eyes and told me the truth. "Of course I did it," she said, her voice dripping with contempt. "I deserve it. I've worked just as hard as you. I've sacrificed just as much. Why should you get everything while I get nothing? Why should you have the perfect life while I struggle? It's not fair. It's never been fair." I stared at her, unable to reconcile the venomous stranger in front of me with the woman who'd held my newborn daughter and whispered that she'd always protect her. "Fair?" I repeated, my voice shaking. "You stole from me. You forged my signature. You destroyed our company. And you think that's fair?" "I think it's justice," she said. "I think it's finally getting what I deserve. You've always had everything handed to you. The perfect husband, the perfect children, the perfect life. While I've had to fight for everything I have, it's not fair, and I'm done being the loser." I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. Everything handed to me? I had built this business with her. I had stayed up late, missed family dinners, poured every ounce of my energy into making this company succeed. And all the while she had been seething with resentment, believing that my success was unearned, that my happiness was stolen from her. "So you decided to destroy me? To take everything I've worked for?" "I decided to take what I deserve," she said, her voice rising. "And I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all." I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could do was stare at her, at the woman I had trusted with my whole heart, and wonder how I could have been so blind. The worst part wasn't the theft or the lies. It was the total absence of remorse. She had looked me in the eyes for years, smiled at me, celebrated with me, all while methodically dismantling my life. The aftermath of Vanessa's confession was devastating. Our company was in ruins. The debt was insurmountable. The bank was foreclosing on our office. The clients were leaving, calling to cancel contracts because they'd heard rumors of financial impropriety. The employees were quitting, and I didn't blame them. Some of them hadn't been paid in weeks because the accounts were empty. I was left holding the bag. The debt was in my name. The loans were in my name. The foreclosure was in my name. I was being held responsible for everything Vanessa had done. Creditors called at all hours. My credit score plummeted. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't think about anything but the overwhelming weight of it all. But I was also determined. I was not going to let her destroy me. I was not going to let her get away with what she had done. I was going to fight back. I hired a forensic accountant, a meticulous man named Mr. Kowalski who came highly recommended. I needed to understand the full extent of Vanessa's fraud. I needed to know exactly what she had done, how she had done it, and how to prove it. I turned over boxes of records, gave him access to every account, and told him to leave no stone unturned. It took 3 months, but the accountant came back with a report that made my blood run cold. He sat in my living room, his laptop open, and walked me through every line item. Vanessa had embezzled nearly $2 million from our company over the past 5 years. She had been siphoning money into secret accounts in the Cayman Islands, hiding her tracks with fake vendor invoices and shell companies. Every time I'd signed off on an expense report, I'd been unwittingly authorizing her theft. But that wasn't all. She had also been stealing from our clients. She had been billing them for work we never did, charging them for services we never provided, and pocketing the money. Some of those clients were small businesses, family-run operations that had trusted us with their livelihoods. She had destroyed our reputation. One client at a time. Mr. Kowalski showed me emails where she'd fabricated entire campaigns, complete with fake reports and phony metrics, just to justify invoices. I was devastated. I was angry. I was humiliated. I was destroyed. But I was also determined. I gathered all the evidence I had. The forensic accountant's report, the bank statements, the forged documents, the fake accounts, the proof of her theft. I know, I said, and for the first time, I felt a flicker of sympathy for him. She used you, just like she used all the others. I am so sorry, Danielle. I'm so sorry for everything. I should have listened to you. I should have believed you. I should have protected you. It's too late for that, I said. But I let him take my hand. You made your choice. Now you have to live with it. But maybe we can rebuild something honest from the rubble. The trial was brutal. Vanessa sat in the courtroom, her face pale, her hands shaking. She tried to defend herself. She tried to spin the story. She claimed she was a victim too. She claimed I had manipulated her, that I had been the one embezzling and she was just covering for me. She claimed she had been coerced. She cried on the stand, but the tears were hollow, performative. The jury saw through them. The evidence was overwhelming. The forensic accountant's report, the bank statements, the forged documents, the fake accounts. It was all there. Everything she had done, everything she had planned, everything she had tried to hide. The prosecution laid out a timeline so clear, so damning, that even Vanessa's own lawyer seemed to lose heart. The jury found her guilty on all counts. Fraud, embezzlement, forgery, identity theft. She was facing a long prison sentence, 10 years. She was facing the destruction of her reputation. She was facing the destruction of her life. When the verdict was read, she looked at me with hatred in her eyes. "You'll regret this," she said, her voice raw with fury. "You'll regret destroying my life. You'll regret everything." I looked back at her, my face calm, my voice steady. "I'm not destroying your life. You destroyed your own life. You made choices. You made mistakes. And now you have to live with them. You're not coming after me. You're going to prison for a very long time." She was led away in handcuffs. I watched her go and I felt nothing. No pity, no satisfaction, just relief. It was finally over. She could never hurt me again. After the trial, I started the long process of rebuilding my life. My name was cleared. My reputation was restored. The creditors stopped calling. The foreclosure was halted. I even received letters of apology from some of the clients Vanessa had defrauded, expressing regret that they doubted me. I went back to what remained of the business, sifting through the wreckage, and decided I would start fresh. But I was changed. The experience had changed me. I was more cautious, more guarded, more protective of my boundaries. I didn't trust as easily as I used to. I didn't give my heart away as freely. Every new business relationship, every handshake, I found myself scrutinizing, looking for hidden agendas. I started going to therapy. I needed to process everything. I needed to work through the trauma. I needed to learn how to trust again. My therapist, Dr. Allen, was a patient woman who let me talk, rant, and cry as much as I needed. Danielle, my therapist said one day, you've been through a terrible ordeal. You've been betrayed by someone you trusted. You've been accused of something you didn't do. You've been through a trauma that would break most people. But you're still standing. You're still fighting. And that takes incredible strength. Thank you, I said. I don't feel strong. I feel broken. I feel like I'll never be whole again. You will be whole again, she said. It will take time. It will take patience. But you will heal. You will find your way back to yourself. I also started spending more time with my family. My children needed me. They had weathered the whispers at school, the awkward questions from friends. Olivia, my 16-year-old, had been particularly shaken, but we talked about it openly. My husband Marcus needed me too. He had his own guilt to work through. And we started couples counseling. We started going on vacations again, not lavish ones, but simple trips where we could just be together. We started having family dinners where no one checked their phones. We started talking about our feelings. We started healing together. I also started to speak out. I told my story to anyone who would listen. I wrote articles. I gave interviews. I shared my experience with others. I wanted to help other women who had been through similar situations. I wanted to show them that they could survive. They could thrive. They could rebuild. I created a support group for women who had been betrayed by business partners. It started small, just a few women in a church basement. But it grew, and grew and grew. Soon, there were dozens of us, then hundreds, then thousands. We shared our stories. We supported each other. We helped each other heal. I heard tales of partners who had drained bank accounts, stolen intellectual property, spread vicious rumors, and I realized I wasn't alone. None of us were. It was a long process. There were many dark days. There were many moments when I wanted to give up, but I didn't. I couldn't. I had come too far. I had fought too hard. I had survived too much. I realized that the best revenge was not in destroying her. The best revenge was in thriving, in building a better life, in becoming the best version of myself, in showing her that she could not destroy me, in showing her that I was stronger than she ever imagined. I started a new company, a small one, just me. I started from scratch, building my client base one at a time. I worked from my kitchen table for the first 6 months, then moved to a tiny office I rented by the month. It was slow going at first, but I was determined. I had survived worse. I could survive this. I called it Phoenix Marketing, a name that represented rising from the ashes. And I did. My new company grew, and grew, and grew. Soon I had more clients than I could handle. I had to hire employees carefully, with rigorous vetting. I had to move to a bigger office. I had to start saying no to new business. The success felt different this time. It was mine, wholly mine, built on a foundation of transparency and hard-won wisdom. I had rebuilt my life. I had rebuilt my career. I had rebuilt my future. And I was happy, truly happy, for the first time in a long time. It's been 3 years since everything happened. 3 years since I discovered the betrayal. 3 years since I destroyed the person who had hurt me. 3 years since I started to rebuild my life. I am happy. I am at peace. I have everything I ever wanted. A loving husband, beautiful children, a successful career, a life filled with joy. Vanessa is still in prison. She is serving a long sentence. She has been abandoned by everyone she loved. Her family has disowned her. Her friends have deserted her. She is alone, forgotten, lost. I don't think about her much. She is not worth my time. She is not worth my energy. She is not worth my thoughts. I have forgiven her, in my own way. Not because she deserves it. Not because I have forgotten what she did. But because I can't carry that anger around forever. It was too heavy. It was destroying me. I had to let it go. Forgiveness is not an act of grace for the offender. It's a gift you give yourself. It's putting down a weight that is crushing you. I have learned a valuable lesson. Trust is fragile. Once it is broken, it is almost impossible to rebuild. And sometimes, the people you trust the most are the ones who hurt you the worst. Sometimes, the people you love the most are the ones who betray you the deepest. But that doesn't mean you should stop trusting. It doesn't mean you should stop loving. It just means you should be careful. You should protect yourself. You should always be vigilant. You should always trust your instincts. Because the truth is, our instincts are usually right. If something feels off, it probably is. If someone seems too good to be true, they probably are. And if you find yourself questioning someone's loyalty, you're probably not being paranoid. Loved this story. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a video. I upload brand new stories every single day. Gripping, emotional, and packed with twists that'll keep you guessing until the very end. Don't forget to like this video if it gave you all the feels. Comment below. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? How did you handle it? I read every single comment. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the best lessons come from other people's experiences. Got a story idea? Drop it in the comments. Your suggestion might just become the next video on this channel. Subscribe now and join our growing family of story lovers. New videos drop daily at 7 a.m. EST. Perfect to watch with your morning coffee. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Until next time, stay strong, stay brave, and never let anyone make you feel like you're not enough. Because you are. You always have been, and you always will be.